Kanye West reveals he's only got $120 million in his bank account before storming out of the Piers Morgan's Talk TV show. Like, I was here just drinking some H2O, the water, and I stumbled upon this article. I'm like, only, only got 120 million. I'm pretty darn sure anyone living right now would love to only have $120 million. But let's get right into it. So Kanye West has claimed to have only $120 million while talking with Piers Morgan before the bust-up that caused him to storm out. The Yeezy fashion designer and world-famous rapper butted heads with the infamous talk show host Piers before walking off. The rapper stated, and my dad called me and said, the thing that the left fear about ye, or makes me the most dangerous, is I'm rich. And that's the point. Tupac told me back in the days, you had to get your money right, and then you go to war. So I'm going to war. I don't have endless resources. I only have maybe, honestly, only maybe $120 million in my account. But what I'm not going to let happen is I'm not going to let my kids take over Yeezy someday and have a boardroom telling them what to do and talking behind their back. I'm not going to let that happen to my children, so I have to fight right now. And the other powerful icons in black music, when they are at the top of the game, they didn't fight at that point. They were too afraid of losing whatever they had. Kanye, 45, called Piers, 57, a Karen, to which the host replied, I'm not a Karen, and I'm not going to cancel or censor you. Well, here's the thing, right? Piers is not a Karen, but he's the male version of one, which I don't know what that's called. A Baron? I don't know. I'm simply going to challenge you and say I don't think you realize the pain you've caused with some of these comments, referring to the rapper's recent tweet regarding to, the Jewish people. Kanye, now known as Ye, refused to apologize about the tweet. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not, Kanye replied. And Kanye goaded the show host, asking him, Piers, how much money are you worth? Piers replied, not as much as you, unfortunately. Ye snapped back, saying, exactly, so take my advice and maybe you'll get richer. Why would I listen to you? Before walking out, Kanye eventually acknowledged the tweet, stating, I feel like I caused hurt and confusion, and I am sorry for the families of the people who had nothing to do with the trauma that I had been through, and that I used my platform where you say I hurt people and I was hurt. He added, it's wrong to hold an apology hostage, and I gotta let go of that and free myself of the trauma. And say I'm just going to give it all up to God right now, and say to those families that I have hurt, I just want to give you a big hug. I say I am sorry for hurting you in my comments. I want to word it not in a political way, but in a presidential way, which is what I knew a president to be when I was growing up. I mean, feel free to give your thoughts on this, but the thing to really understand, right, is like 120 million. If he's basically saying what I think he's saying, and that he actually has like $120 million cash in his account that he has access to, that's actually extremely massive. And the reason for that is like, look, a lot of people don't understand this, but a lot of these people that are like claimed to be billionaires by, news companies and all that kind of stuff, right? They typically don't actually have immediate access to a large sum of cash. They typically have to go through a very lengthy process through legal hurdles to actually get access to their money to be able to do what they want to do with their money, right? Because a lot of them don't actually carry a lot of cash. So, what people need to understand is that having $120 million cash can be way more impactful than like say $1 billion in like net worth, right? Because you can immediately utilize the $120 million to whatever you want right then and there, compared to being worth $1 billion and then potentially having to spend like a year or more trying to liquidate your assets to be able to do something with the money or take loans against your net assets, which is never really a smart idea, but some billionaires do that, right? Which is why some billionaires basically pay no taxes because they basically get paid in the terms of debt that they take out against assets that they already own. So basically, they're taking practically a loan from themselves. It's like just so annoying how they do it. But what I do like about what Kanye is saying about the situation that he's in is that when you get your money right, meaning when you are able to get into a financial position where one, you are not hurting for money, you have massive sums of money that you could literally utilize at any given time for any given purpose that you want to, and it doesn't really like you're never in a situation where you're financially like in pain, you could pretty much go full force into whatever it is that you want to go do, right? Let's say that Kanye wants to go full force into owning social media companies, right? Take on these other social media companies head to head. He could do that by, aka, buying Parler basically in cash if he wanted to, if he's able to, right? As like an example. You could end up buying potentially a town and basically make it your very own town with your own rules in a sense. And like, I mean, you could do a lot with $120 million, right? That's a lot of money, cash that you could actually utilize. You could literally buy multiple neighborhoods and run it how you want it to run, where you could hire private security for certain neighborhoods and literally have this crazy private location with families that you just want to live there, right? Like you could literally create like a secluded island of people if you wanted to. Like $120 million is basically like a war chest that is not unlimited, but depending on how you use it, can be extremely effective, right? Not to mention, like I think a lot of people took him like as a joke when he like ran for president roughly that one time kind of thing, which it kind of was a joke. But the reality is, if he has $120 million of his own money that he could self promote, not to mention the free promotions that he could do just from his social media, not to mention if he were to actually truly buy Parler, he'll basically now own a very massive, potentially strong social media app that could push whatever he wants to push, right? What people need to understand is that having a lot of cash can be a very great tool in your tool belt to get whatever job you want done in a lot quicker way.